filming over there, mate?
Yeah, we're good.
Streaming.
Right. Welcome to this workshop, and I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be about. It's nice to be in a room with all you lovely people. We're obviously interested in art, music, and visuals, and coming together in some space. It's a lovely event, actually. Thanks to Dora and Billy for putting it together, and everyone else who's helping make it happen. I wasn't sure what to expect at all coming in over here this afternoon to do a workshop. I thought I'd just sort of keep it freeform until I saw who was here and what bits of equipment were here and what people's interests were. I'm still not entirely sure how to pitch this, but I think we're all on a wavelength. So I'll just going to talk about a few things which I'm doing, which I think are related to your interests, hopefully, and I'm hoping that we can also collaborate to perhaps make a bit of art, or at least have some kind of audiovisual jam. But before we steam into that full on, I want to describe some of the different elements which I brought along here, the different bits of gear that I brought along, and some of what me and my crew have been doing, which I hope will be of interest to you guys. So, does that sound good? Yes. Okay, so yeah, as I say, I'm not sure exactly what. There's probably different levels of knowledge and expertise on different things. So I'm just going to kind of try and pitch it as to where I feel people are at. I mean, there's obviously an interest in VJing and visuals here from all these laptops and all these projectors that are around. So we've just had a mapping. Broadly a mapping workshop using MadMapper, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, great stuff. Well, mapping is interesting because it's kind of what VJing's turned into in a way. I've been VJing for well over 15 years, nearly 20 years now. And for me, VJing is, well, it's always existed, putting visuals to music, really, in a way that's more fluid than just showing a film. Some people call it live cinema. It existed in the 60s when people used to do light shows and with slides and bubble machines and film projections and all kinds of psychedelic lighting for some of the acts of the 60s. And sometimes you used to see on a flyer at the Fillmore in San Francisco, was the most legendary place. You see Jimi Hendrix with Joshua Light Show underneath in sort of almost equal headings. So putting visuals to music is not a new idea. But digital technology has given us the ability to do this in a much more powerful and flexible way. And initially, I was VJing, not particularly digitally, but using a small video mixer, which was designed for making your wedding videos on, actually, by Panasonic. Panasonic, interesting company. They make Technics as well, and they produce these bits of technology. I don't think they really had any idea how they'd end up being used and misused, but in fact, kind of kick-started a whole massive culture. So I had a Panasonic AV5, and I customized that with an external crossfade mixer. DJ mixers have crossfaders on to mix from one source to another. And I figured if I was going to be mixing audio-visual sources, it'd be cool to have one fader which mixed the video and the audio at the same time. So I took this Panasonic and customized it by putting an external crossfader on it. And that became sort of my first VJ setup. See if I can pull it up. So I've got a new video mixing setup here, and that's a sort of development of the original one, which I may be able to pull up various ancient bits of technology here. Yeah, there we are. There's the double crossfader. Rather crude. Literally just a hack. To me, hack is not a dirty word at all. It's just about bolting bits of stuff together to do something new, finding new approaches. This odd-looking turntable setup was before Serato. It actually has a mouse wheel mounted in an extra head shell to scratch, to capture the movement of scratching and turn it into a digital form, which we could then use to do digital scratching. Serato did the idea, well, Fine Scratch was the first one, but they did a much better take on it. That's one of our crazy mixing setups from a few years ago. At the bottom you can see two V4s, which were Roland's contribution to the mixing setup. I'm quite excited when Roland got into producing VJ gear, because of course they're the ones who produced all the equipment which House and Electro are founded on, pretty much, your 808, your 303, all that kind of stuff. So they were obviously aware that something was going on. Yes. Okay. It's a bit small, this, isn't it?
I think so, maximum. Move it back a little bit.
So yeah, that was the Cold Cut live setup circa 1997, with the mixer with a double crossfader there, laptop running VJam, which was our sort of first audiovisual software, Chaos Pad, little recorder there, just underneath my hands. We'll return to recording in a minute. And then on the picture of the right, there's the AV5, which was the video mixer, lots of wires plugging in the different sources, and a couple of video CD players, which were a kind of cheap forerunner of DVDs, and were the first time that you could actually take some video and burn it onto a disc and then use that to play off. So that was our live setup in those days. And now,
how long a clip could you get on a CD?
well, you could get an hour's work on video CD.
But was it low quality or?
It was like MPEG 1.
Right.
I found a card called a Broadway, which sort of speeded up compressing to MPEG 1. And so what we used to do with those was we'd have a backing track, which would be generally just some long pieces of visuals, and then John, my partner, would be playing music off another piece of software of ours called DJam, and it was like a forerunner of Ableton, which looked a bit like this. Similar idea to Ninja Jam, which I'm going to show you in a moment, 4-track clip mixer. So yeah, you'd have a backing visuals, backing audio, and then on top you'd have audio-visual samples played off VJam, which was our audio-visual sort of piano software. So the idea of combining sound and visuals. Now, we stopped developing VJam a while ago, but if you're interested in playing audio-visual samples, the guys who have taken that on are Resolume Avenue, and they've done a really good version of various random pictures here of incorporating sound and visual clips together. So it's like having an audio-visual sampler. So Resolume is an excellent piece of software, and they're the ones who kind of put that together. Oh, you're kind of looking into my brain here. I wonder how we can best demonstrate this, though. Okay, so that is what is in this box here, and every few years I sort of build a new VJ mixing setup and try and make it a bit more friendly, so that it didn't take 3 hours to wire up. I'm sure we've all been there, or many of us have been there, with the horrors of the wires. Things are a bit better nowadays, and I've built all that stuff into this box, which is, sometimes they let us carry it onto the plane, sometimes they don't. It's about 15 kilograms, but it does actually fit in an overhead locker. It's the sort of maximum size you can carry on. And so I was waiting to do a new VJ mixing setup until I could have something which could mix high-def video. So in the old days, we were working just with composite, or later with S-Video, but it's pretty grungy quality. We also used to work with low-resolution video clips, typically quarter screen, so that we could fit them into memory, so that the computers could handle them. 320 by 240 pixels. It was sort of a quarter the quality of a normal TV screen, was all the computers and the technology could manage at that time. And I always used to kind of envy people who did better quality visuals, but it's very hard to do the better quality and have something that was affordable and have something that was portable. You can have better quality video mixers, but they'd be the size of a large table and cost £250,000. so that wasn't really suitable to bung in the back of your car and go and set up in some grungy squat. So I was showing you the sort of hacked crossfade mixer earlier, and there's a crew in London who are called Diffuse, and one of their members is Toby Spark.
Yeah.
So Toby, rather brilliantly, came up with the Spark diffuser over the last few months. And what he did was take this box on the bottom left, which is called a TV1, which is a sort of cheap 500 quid HD switcher and mixer, and re-engineer it so that it could work with an external crossfader, which is the yellow and black box on the side, similar to what I did. You use an external crossfader because you want to do something else. The guts of the box is good, but it's not quite as interactive as you want, so you make up some new control input for it. And so he got this working, and all these things. Whenever you're trying to do something new, you think, okay, well, I've got this that does this, and I've got this that does this. I'll put them together, and I'll be able to do this. But very often, for some reason, it isn't quite that simple. You're 95% of the way there, but the last 5% is a lot of work to actually get working. But Toby persevered with it. And what he did was put out a sort of a call to the VJ community saying, look, I've built this box. If you want one, I'm making a limited edition run of them. I'm going to make 80. They're going to cost 800 quid each. I'm going to go to the factory. I'm going to get it built. I'm going to buy some TV1s. I'm going to modify them all. And I'm going to do a short run of these VJ mixers. So when I heard about this, I was quite excited because it was a chance to have an HD mixer at an affordable price. So he did that. I bought one from him, and then I built it into this box. And to say it's nothing special. It's just existing things bolted together, and that's in a way what I've really done is sort of sellotape bits of technology together. But it is quite a good, useful setup. So you've got your mixer there on the bottom left, rather your guts of the mixer. Then on the right of that, you've got the controller for that, crossfader. And anyway, I'm just fading between one source, which is my iPhone, and that's what's coming off my laptop at the moment by moving this crossfader switch. At the top, you've got two monitors. So a DJ needs to hear what the next record is going to be, how it's going to come in, what it's going to be like, if it's in sync, by using their headphones, using the cue on the headphones so that you can hear what you're bringing into the mix before the audience does. And the VJ does the same by having monitors so that they can see, they can preview and get the next clip ready before they actually fade it up in the mix. So that's what these two preview monitors are for. And then the third screen in the middle is called a Ninja 2, rather fortuitously. And that is a recorder for high-def video, and I was just waiting for one of these to come out. It's not that cheap. I got it for 500 quid by claiming an educational discount. They're normally about, well, education's quite a broad term. No, they're normally about 600 quid. Again, they're really designed for use on sort of digital SLR cameras. I don't think they envisaged that they'd be used by VJs, but I've done some really enjoyable sets over the years, particularly with my man Mixmaster Morris, who's my favourite DJ in the whole world, and I enjoyed my set with him last night in the swimming pool, if some of you caught that. I like nothing better than listening to Morris play his beautiful music and finding some visuals to go along with that. I've mixed some wicked sets with him and not got any of them recorded. So this is partly so I can capture some of Morris's magic and record full quality audiovisual sets. So this takes an HDMI input, and when I thought...
Ciao, buongiorno, come stai?